An adjudication, 7 years of state prison followed by 10 years of reporting probation. As a condition of probation, the defendant will...
Would you say 10 years probation?
10 years reporting probation. Okay. The defendant will complete the MDSO program.
Mr. Nowak, the terms of the plea agreement are as what the prosecutor just stated, that you are going to be entering a plea of guilty to the 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and 1 count of deliberate contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You will be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
What's going on, y'all? Nick here, coming to you with another video. I got special guests with me today. You know, James. Would you like to say something?
How you doing? My name is James. I have a YouTube channel as well. It's called Enter Black Void. You can just enter and then Black Void, BLACKVOID. And it's a pleasure to hang out with Nick. The message sent.
Right on, right on. So you guys, we have an interesting one today. As you probably all saw by the thumbnail and the title, but there's some breaking news because apparently we got Brother Polight. He ain't no brother of mine, but you know, Brother Polight just got sentenced. All right. He's going to prison for a long time is the name of the video. All right. So let's just see what this brother had to say. All right, let's check this out.
All right, so Brother Polight had his court day today in court, and the judge actually just read the verdict. And let me tell you, it's pretty shocking. I'm going to play the video from court, and I'll be back with my commentary.
And then we will go into the details on the contract. Go ahead.
Your Honor, the plea agreement includes an adjudication, 7 years of state prison followed by 10 years of reporting probation. As a condition of probation, the defendant will...
Would you say 10 years probation?
10 years reporting probation.
Okay.
The defendant will complete the MDSO program. The defendant will not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with children. The defendant will have specific terms regarding where he may work and the ability to wear a uniform. There are additional terms of restitution, of which $5,000 has been agreed to be paid upfront within 24 hours, mailed to the victim. And additional restitution to be paid out on a monthly basis once he is out of custody. And that monthly amount is highlighted in the written terms of the plea agreement. Additionally, there will be a stay away order from victim TS and her mother, which is also mentioned in the plea agreement.
What is the total amount of the restitution?
The total amount of restitution is $25,000.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor, the defendant's counsel going to be providing probation with the proof of the $5,000 being paid?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Mr. Nowak, the terms of the plea agreement are as what the prosecutor just stated, that you are going to be entering a plea of guilty to the 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and 1 count of deliberate contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You will be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. Do you also understand, sir, that by entering into this plea that it may subject you to involuntary civil commitment proceedings set forth in Florida statutes 394.910 through 394.931? Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to also advise you, sir, that you are going to be sentenced to 7 years in state.
Now, is it me or he just sounded real like nonchalant about it? It's just like he's reading out the sentence to, you know, Michael Nowak, you know, aka Brother Polight, and he's just like, yeah.
This is, now we get into conspiracy theories out there. He does seem very nonchalant. He definitely seems like he's okay with that. It doesn't sound like he's putting up much of a fight. 7 years. You know, how did they come up with this number? Did he take a deal? You know, we don't know what was discussed behind doors.
Yeah.
But perhaps this was talked about in the back. So maybe this is why he's okay with it. Maybe he bargained for a deal. Instead of doing more time, they gave him 7 years, and then 10 more years after with surveillance after that. So I don't know. I don't know, but he does seem very okay with it, at peace almost. It doesn't sound like there's much of a resistance.
Hold on, my fault about that. I'm gonna edit that out. Polite has the drop charges. All right, so I'm gonna play something real quick. Let me present this. Stop screen. No. I'm still learning this a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
But going to what you were saying before.
So yeah, the fact that he got 7 years, I think, is very little for what he's done. Right?
Yeah.
You intoxicated a girl, under a minor, and you had your way with her sexually speaking. That is rape. Um, and to get 7 years, I think is very little. I think if it was anybody else, they would have gotten a lot more.
Yeah.
Um,
I think for me, what disturbs me the most about it, and I'm about to play the video for you guys all before I chime in, but check out what he said prior to this, right? Because this is what he was trying to tell the people.
Blessings in abundance. The mother and the daughter and the prosecution dropped every single sexual charge. I'm saying it again. The mother, the daughter, my accusers, in addition to the state, the prosecution, all agreed they need to drop all of the sexual charges. So, yeah, it's a victory, but it's bittersweet. It's a victory because I was facing life. No parole, no probation.
You see that?
he was facing life.
He was
So,
facing life.
so this is what I'm saying. 7 years. He probably has some good lawyers to lower the sentence. Um, I mean, if he lied about this, he could be lying about life. You know, like him getting life is to make it more dramatic. But whatever the case may be, I just feel like 7 years is far too little for what he's done, especially the continuous lies that he's told. But hey, at least there's some form of justice, right?
Yeah. Nah, I actually agree with your former sentiments. I mean, like this dude literally, this dude literally is claiming that they dropped the charges and then now or they dropped the life sentence and now it's 7 years. I think he just took a deal. I think in his mind he knew like, all right, there's way too much evidence against me, and most people do not know the legal jargon.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the reason why if you hear even in the case, which I'm going to go back to, but you could kind of see it where it's just like, you know what they use some legal terminology, but pretty much they said that you were messing around with a minor, 14 years old, and I think the thing that makes it worse is that like dude was dealing with, you get what I'm saying, his girlfriend's daughter. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the actual situation. It's not just any minor. You're dealing with the girlfriend's daughter, and she was only 14 years old. So I mean, this dude's a scumbag, but I do want to just play a little bit more because there is more to unwrap here.
State prison to be followed by 10 years of reporting probation. In addition to any of these special conditions of probation, you will also participate in and successfully complete a mentally disordered sex offender treatment program.
You see what I'm saying? So he has to attend sex offender program. I mean, if they drop the charges, if he didn't really do those things, you see how? So in other words, they use the like legal jargon to pretty much say the same thing. Yeah, they're not going to call it pedophilia so that he doesn't have that kind of like stigma on him, but pretty much all the legal talk is pretty much saying the same thing. Like, dude, you messed around with a minor, you intoxicated a minor. You know what I'm saying? And so he's just fleecing the people like he's always done in times past, and he just trying to present himself as if he was this righteous dude. Like, yo, they dropped the charges. You know what I'm saying? I'm clean. I'm good now. You know what I'm saying?
But this is the nature of scammers and liars, right?
Yeah.
One thing. This is not the first time Polight has been called out. He's been called out many times by other people. You know, scamming. You know, writing. You know, he had the amount of books he wrote is insane.
Yeah.
I forget even the amount, but there's many. If you go on YouTube and you go down that rabbit hole, you'll see so many people that got scammed by Polight. You know,
Yeah.
they were expecting gifts or expecting books, expecting deliveries. They never received it. They would never receive what he promised. Polight has a way with words, and he has a way of enticing people, and he has a way of persuading people through his voice, through his vocabulary, through his intelligence, right?
Yeah.
So these scammers have like this great oratorial skills.
Yeah.
You know,
The gift of gab.
the gift of gab, exactly, the gift of gab.
I mean,
So
he's doing no different than what these lying ass pastors do every Sunday. I mean,
exactly.
they know how to give people a fuzzy feeling, so they know that all right, I could tap into people's wallet. My thing though is why in the world do black people continually fall for suckers like this?
Because they're broken. We are broken as a people, right?
Yeah,
When you slavery has really done a number on us, colonization has done a number on us, the injustice has done a number on us, right? When you remove a people, remove their heritage, remove their culture, remove when you destroy their identity, right? And you meet guys like Polight, who's trying to give you an identity, who's trying to give you a purpose, who's telling you that your history is more than slavery. People will latch onto that.
yeah,
People will latch onto that because, like you said, they have a warm, fuzzy feeling inside, right?
right,
Because we all, every man, every person on this planet wants a sense of belonging, and we want to feel good. So when you have people like them who uplift your spirits, who tell you that you're kings and you're queens and that you're beautiful, people are they're gonna be like fish. They're gonna get hooked. You know, like
yeah,
they're gonna get hooked. You
yeah,
know, and when you get hooked by these types of people, they could tell you do whatever you. They could tell you do whatever, and people will do it. They could tell you jump off a bridge, they'll do it. That's how cults start. Cults. You know,
man.
they tell you drink the Kool-Aid.
There
You'll
you
drink the
go.
Kool-Aid.
There you go. You said it best. Cults. That's exactly how they start. You know what I'm saying? And fundamentally, yeah, you know, obviously you're alluding to Jim Jones, but the people, it's the people. And you know what I'm saying? Like they don't think. If they do not practice self-autonomy, they just run with it. And I get it. You actually hit it right on the nail. Black people as a whole are extremely broken. So whenever they hear dudes like, you know, Polight, giving them all these empty promises. They feel, oh man, somebody's speaking on our behalf. But you see, me personally, I never could rock with him. That's just me personally. I remember when I first got introduced to Polite, I think he was on like the Hidden Colors. You know what I'm saying? With Tariq.
No, he wasn't. I don't think he was on Hidden Colors. He was on like a Sonetta TV.
Maybe it was Sinetta. Who knows? But long story short, I was listening to this cat, and I knew back then. And I mean, we actually go way back, but you knew my stance on Polite back then. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I couldn't stand the dude back then because he was always, this is just my belief, but he always wanted to talk down on the Bible, talk
Mhm.
down on Jesus. And in my mind, I was just like, man, this dude he's a straight up clown. But you see, I was let me take that back. Let me take that back. I'm not waiting for the demise of anybody. If a black man, black woman, anybody, it doesn't even matter if you're black. If you are making your bag, if you're making your coin, believe me, I ain't against you. I ain't hating on you. You do whatever.
It's the way you do it, though.
There you go. It's
It's
the
the
way.
way you do it.
I
Because
hold on. Let
go
me
ahead,
just,
go ahead, go ahead.
I just feel like the one thing that's really detrimental with black people, despite the fact that we had all these skills. I mean, we built America. We built America. And the moment we stop being slaves, even though we are slaves, the moment we stop becoming slaves, we refuse as a people. I'm not talking about individuals, I'm talking about as a collective. We refuse to go back in the field and build our own communities. It's like we're afraid of labor. No, hear me out. Hear me out. Again, I'm not talking about black people here and there. I'm talking about as a collective. A lot of them do not want to just go back and finally work. So you have dudes like Brother Polite that sells them almost on like this get rich quick kind of scheme. Oh, you invest in me and I'm gonna get you there, blah blah blah. Right? They feed you all these. You have, I think, other dudes like 19 Keys. He's like the new guy right now. Like all these guys, all scammers. As always, invest this money. How about we actually buy something tangible? You see, but people are afraid of that hard work. You see, if I was going to invest in somebody, sure, I would love to invest in somebody who claims they're trying to help out the community. But I want to see something tangible and do not try to eliminate the work. I rather put my ass to work, go back in the field and grow my own garden and build my own house. You get what I'm saying? Rather than just this get rich quick, invest in crypto, and then you're gonna be a millionaire and all these other stuff that these guys, these scammers be trying to sell black people on. But you had something in mind.
I agree with you. I okay. So after slavery, a lot of black people were trying to create their own land, create their own cities, but unfortunately, racism really its nasty head, and a lot of these cities were destroyed or submerged underwater.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
But I do agree in the sense that we have this stigma against working in farms. We have,
Oh,
it's
that's
not
crazy.
it's not appealing. It's not manual labor is not appealing. Collectively as a group, I do believe that that probably would be the best solution for us to try building our cities again.
But could you
But
imagine? I'm sorry. Could you imagine? You said collectively we don't own our own stuff, right? But black people, listen to me, please listen. Many hands make light work. Is the work hard? Absolutely. But if you have a whole bunch of skilled workers working on the building of our infrastructure, do you know how drastically easier that becomes?
that's true.
It's not really that hard if we all just put our minds together. I mean, this is the reason why Jewish people have their own community, Chinese people have their own community, all these other races have their own community, and yet we built America and we don't have any substantial community. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just
No,
want
no, no. It's you know what's so crazy? The stuff that we say So many people have said it before us. So many people have said it in a better, eloquent way, but it seems like black people, we're not getting the lesson. We're not understanding the lesson. Going back to Polight, I knew something was wrong when he had this opulent lifestyle. That's when I knew something was wrong. Because I realized, okay, he's saying all the right stuff. But now when it comes to giving back to his community, I don't see that. When it comes to, many times people question him on this matter. He said, "Oh, I gotta live out my fantasies first. I gotta exhaust my dreams first.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Before, like he was just like, I gotta get it out my system. It's just like, what are you doing for the community? Me being rich is enough for my community because that's example, that's hope for them, right? So when he started saying stuff like that, I was just like, okay, I see the type of brother he is. He has no interest doing the hard work. He's not on the same level as Malcolm and Martin.
No, far from it.
I think he tried to prop himself that way, but he's not the same. He's not the same at all. He's not the same because he's really not. He was never about that lifestyle. He was about saying all the right things. He was just like a preacher. That's exactly what he is. Even though he wasn't a Christian, he wasn't Muslim, he wasn't a Hebrew Israelite, he was a preacher that was selling false hope to people. He got money. Now he thinks himself as a god. This is why he acted in that manner. He felt like he could do no wrong. This is why unfortunately, he had his way with that young girl. And he thought nothing was going to ever happen to him. But, his crimes finally got caught up with him.
Yeah. And I actually want to play more of the clip because I believe like that nonchalant, like you said, he propped himself as this king, as, on this high horse pretty much. And he sounds very nonchalant. Like, check this out.
That you are also not eligible. Okay, you may, according to the state, you may be eligible for early termination if all of the conditions of your probation have been completed, that you have had no violations of your probation, and that you have not been arrested for any other criminal offense. Is that correct, State?
And to clarify, the terms stated in 5 is there's no prohibition on early termination. However, there is a requirement that any modification to this agreement be agreed by the state and the court.
Okay. All right, sir. Now, with respect to this plea agreement, I have on each page next to defendant's initials MN. Did you in fact affix those initials to each page?
I did.
And have you reviewed each and every component of this plea agreement going through page 1 and through page 4?
I have.
Now it says on page 4, having read the above mentioned terms of this plea agreement and having been advised by my counsel, David Terrace, I, Michael Noak, freely and voluntarily enter into this plea agreement and agree to abide by all terms and conditions of this plea agreement and agree that failure to comply with any terms or conditions within this agreement constitutes a violation of probation and subjects me to be sentenced to the statutory maximum penalties provided by law for the crimes for which I am now pleading guilty. And then it has a signature over the name Michael Noack. Is that in fact your signature, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You see that? So he said, and that's what's so crazy. The guy is reading it out to him, saying that, is this your initials? Is this? And he's saying, yes, it is. Just real nonchalant. And this is what I'm saying. Like, these dudes, it really irks me because, look, I'm one of the few people that I actually do have a deep love and care for my people. Now, over the course of time, as I've matured, I realized that the mindset of a lot of black people is, as you mentioned so early in the video, that they are so hurt and they are so broken that now I've gotten to the point where I had to grow in my personal spiritual journey, and I realized that my people are the ones who actually just choose to keep this law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and believe in Jesus. That's for me personally. And that's who, and so irregardless of your skin color, I will consider you a brother if you can abide by those two things. Yet here and still, I still have a deep love naturally for melanated people. And I make these videos because I actually do see it as an extension of kind of like a family that is continually being beat down, whether it be through the system, whether it be the government, the powers that be, whatever name you want to call it. But it really irks me when you have people within your own community that are doing you dirty. It really does. You know, Omar Johnson, I followed this brother too, and I don't want to jump to conclusions because, you know, I made a video recently and it seems like he is finally building that school. But again, black people, you need to stop falling for the dudes who are able to speak very eloquently. Y'all need to really start paying attention to the actual fruit. Y'all really do. A lot of times, the people that are actually doing the actual work out here, they may not be the best speakers. You may not even like their delivery, but look at their fruit. Because here you are, you putting so much trust in these men who can speak circles around, you know, the average Joe. But there is no fruit in terms of what they're providing for the people. You got saying?
I would attribute that largely in part to Christianity.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Because I hate to say this, but Christianity has bred some of the best speakers in the world.
You ain't lie.
These speakers can make you cry, tears, have your heart pounding. You know, they have you feel, like you said, an emotional connection and ties. And black people, they love to hear all the good stuff. They don't want to hear negativity.
No.
And it's evident even in the music of hip hop. They love listening to words, But like you said, when these people, when these so-called preachers, when these so-called speakers and rappers, they have nothing to show for their efforts besides, again, taking your money, selling you a dream, and you're left with the broken pieces. So Polight's legacy will forever be tarnished. His legacy will be known as the guy who bamboozled so many people. You see, now the conscious community has taken a big L, I believe, in my opinion, because Polight was at one time in the conscious community a juggernaut. To some people, not everybody, but to a lot of people, he was a juggernaut. To the average person, he was up there. So by him pleading to this, right?
Right.
And it's not just Brother Polight. There's many pastors, Christian pastors, who have been accused of being pedophiles, who have been accused of sexually having sex outside of marriage.
Sexual
deviancy, playing with little boys, playing with little girls, playing with people's wives, cheating on their own wives, you know, they're on the down low. These guys have to be re-examined. The black community as a whole needs restructuring. Period. Point blank. Needs restructuring. We can't fall for the guys that speak well any longer. We gotta look for people who's doing the groundwork. We can't believe in these speakers because they should not speak for us. They should not speak for us. You know, and it's extremely hard because every time guys like Polight do something like this, it sets us back, whether we know it or not, whether we want to admit it or not. It does set us back because guess what? Who are we going to trust now? You see, who are we? If we can't trust these so-called pastors and preachers, if we can't trust those who are conscious, who are we going to trust?
Now, if I may, I think this is why community is the solution. All right, so if I may, I want to touch on this real quick, right? Because I honestly believe the solution comes from the Bible, as always, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Acts 2, verse 44, it lays down the blueprint of how we as a people should be living. It said that, you know, they as in, you know, those who were part of the church, the body of Christ, they all sold everything that they had and they had everything in common. Now, why is this important? If everybody has everything in common, in other words, now what we're creating is accountability. What we are creating is the ability to now hold every single member within this so-called community accountable just in case anything shady comes to pass. And also why this is important is because let's say we all bring in our money into a collective pot, right? I should not just be the sole controller of this money. You shouldn't be the sole, controller of this money. We all pretty much policing one another.
Now,
And the reason why, hold on, and the reason why I'm saying this is important is because could you imagine, let's say, which we already know, this dude is shady as hell, especially after everything that's coming out. Could you imagine how much better it would have been for all these people who were fleeced by Polight if they were able to get their money back? If people were just like, nah, this thing ain't working, we haven't seen no fruit, I'm out. You see, but whenever we just trust this one dude, again, he produced no fruit. There was no fruit to really show us, what type of man, if he's even a man of character, nothing of that sort, right? Now he's done spent that money. He lived his, like you said, an opulent lifestyle. He done did all that stuff. I had to live my life. You know what I'm saying? Now he did that stuff, and now what happened to all that money he raised? Vanished. It's gone. You know what I'm saying? So this is why me personally, I believe the Bible had it right. We as a people, we really just need to come together and just put our funds together. But it needs to be done in such a way where everybody can be held accountable. And that's not to say that there's no leader. I believe there should still definitely be some type of leadership, eldership, right? That doesn't go away. But those leaders also hold one another accountable.
now, okay, I have no problems with what you have said. The issue is people today are religiously fatigued because of deception, because of manipulation, because events like this. You see? If you're unbiased and you read the Bible for what it is, you see it as a book of a way of great living, right? If you read it with unbiased eyes, it's a way for you to live a good life, to be a good man, to be a good woman. However, when you have pastors who use the Bible against you for their own gain, this is what causes animosity. This is what causes hatred. This is why many people go away from the Bible. Now, the community is fabulous. Who are you going to trust as the leader to start this? Especially for people that are religiously fatigued. You see, that's the issue. The Bible is not the issue. The issue is convincing people to place their trust in a man for this to happen, for this community to happen.
Right. And
See, this is the biggest issue. Because again, Polight, you don't think Polight talk that talk too? You need to buy land, you need to be all together, kumbaya, black love, black unity, all that stuff. You don't think he was talking that? He was talking that. Black people need to get together, black people need to come together, but then this is what he does to somebody who's supposedly black.
right. And this is what I'm saying to you. This is why fundamentally you can't, I keep going back to this. You shall know them by their fruit, right? Like when you live in a community, you get to see how a child is brought up. You get what I'm saying? So there are certain things, certain milestones where you can see this child, he ain't worth a damn. Or this one actually cares. This one is actually, has a very altruistic spirit. You get what I'm saying? You know those who labor amongst you, right? So what I'm saying is that, look, you are right, by the way. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but what I am saying is that there are individuals, again, because nothing is 100%. I do believe there is a group of men, honorable men, who can actually lead people the right way. I personally know of one, right? But I believe that we need to analyze their life and do they possess certain skills? Are they afraid to run away from the work? I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, someone as simple as Pastor Dow, right? He ran a whole bunch of communities, you know what I'm saying, all throughout America, setting families home. I mean, setting families free, right? Debt free. And this man is not afraid of the work. He's not looking for no private jet. He's not looking for a Lambo, right? Till this day, he's about like 56 years old and he's still grinding, busting his ass, building homes for other people on the community. You get what I'm saying? Now,
the thing is,
what I just want to finish off by saying is that, there are men with skill sets out there that aren't afraid of the work. And I personally believe, I think one of the biggest things, if you see which this is just me, this is my personal belief, but if you find a man who wants to lead but is afraid of the work, that should be a red flag right there, because you could name all the patriarchs in the Bible and all of them were not afraid of the grind. They were literally warriors. I mean, they were in the front line going to battle. Every single one of them were warriors. None of them were afraid, and they were all farmers. You know what I'm saying? They're not afraid of getting their hands dirty. They're not here sitting up. And even when you hear the word kings, even the notion of how the kings operated in the Bible was way different. I mean, again, they still got their hands dirty. They were still in the battlefield. They were still with the people. Versus what we have today, these modern, kings, where all they want to do is sit up in these lavish mansions and they have a whole bunch of pawns doing the dirty work for them and they don't want to lift a finger. They in these air-conditioned rooms, you get what I'm saying? They don't, this is just me, but I think as a man, if you see anybody that's afraid of getting their hands dirty, that's an automatic sign that person is not qualified to be a leader. He's just not.
I agree with you. Now, I don't know Pastor Dow, but from what I've seen, what sets him apart is before he gathered people, he was already doing the work.
There you go.
So individuals will have to take the lead. And then when they have something substantial, that's when they can attract people. You see? Black people, we galvanize behind a cause but we don't see the person's track record.
The fruit.
The fruit, right? We don't see the track record. We don't see a history, and this is why certain movements fall short. This is why there's inconsistency. So this is why I'm saying, like Pastor Dow, and if you want to compare him to many other people in the Bible, they did the work first, and then the people came. It wasn't people coming and then the work happened. You know, Moses had to leave his people, establish his own thing, and then God called him. Abraham had to leave, do his own thing, and then he multiplied, right? All these people that worked first because they knew they had a vision to, they had a vision of setting people free first. But nobody was going to come to them unless they had something substantial, unless they had proof, right? This is when people will come. This is when the shepherd the sheep will come.
I think you're hitting on the biggest thing, and only for the sake of the video, because it is getting long. But I think what we're touching on, essentially, if we could agree on this, is that you got to be about that action and not about the talk. I think that's from what I'm hearing both of us saying.
Exactly.
That is the hallmark sign of a true leader. That
Right.
we need to stop following dudes who are only good at speaking and don't got no action put behind it.
Black people are some of the best speakers in the world.
You're
It's
right.
some of the best. I will say this.
You're right.
Black people are the best speakers in the world. For us to come up with hip hop, for us to come up with reggae, for us to come up with genres of music, rock music, name it, pop, funk, we are the best speakers in the world. We can even take language and alter it, twist it, come up with negative stuff, make it positive. That's how good we are in speaking. We can take a negative word, spin it, make it good. That's how good we are. We can sell shit to people and they'll buy it.
Yeah.
This is probably one of our greatest gifts that we don't even realize. But speaking is just speaking. There's no merit to speaking. There is no merit to that. You gotta work. And this is what I'm not gonna say this is a good lesson for us to learn, because what happened to that girl is tragic. However, it is a lesson for us to stop believing in talk. See the work first. Because probably the most genuine people can't even string two words together. But they have more of a heart.
Moses,
he stuttered. Exactly. The first person I was seeing. Moses was a stutter. He couldn't speak. His brother spoke for him. This is what Black people gotta realize. We have to look at the work first, not the talk. Because once you see the work, then when the person speak, no matter how well they speak or how poorly they speak, you understand because there's work behind it.
Hey man, I think you nailed it. Can't add or take away from that. I think, and my only hope is that people actually made it this far, because I actually think this is actually the most edifying part of the video, like how to actually discern who deserves to be a leader within a community. Right. I mean, you really hit it right on the nail. We got to be about that action. But you guys, again, if you probably didn't notice, I'm trying my best to give you as much meat in this video, but also, valuing your time. So you guys, if you did like this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below, do all that YouTube stuff. Please also check out James' channel as well, Enter Black Void. All right, check him out, show some support over there as well. But with that being said, you guys, Nick, James, over and out. The message sent. Jesus is king, y'all.